my name is Amalina Romalia, an English major at Universitas Gadjah Mada. Through Indonesian International Student Mobility Awards, I was grateful to be nominated as a visiting student at Korea University for this spring semester of 2022. Here, I study contemporary Korea under the Division of International Studies, Korean History and Culture under the General Studies Department, and Society and Health under the Division of Health Policy and Management. The view behind me is the main building of Korea University or Koryo Dehakyo, the place where I study for this semester. I first heard of the IISMA program through socialization held by my department back in 2021. From what I remember, the hardest part of preparing the application is the English proficiency certificate. It is because it was quite hard to find the available test in such a short period of time, and also the certificate will only be issued 2 weeks after the test. After the hours got accepted, we were initially going to depart to South Korea in August for the fall semester of 2021. But later, the program was pushed back to the spring semester of 2022 due to the worsening situation of COVID-19 in both South Korea and Indonesia at the time, July 2021. Long story short, it was in October 2021 that we actually started preparing again for our departure for the spring semester, which will begin on February 2022. The most difficult process during the pre-departure process is undoubtedly applying for the visa. It's not necessarily the process of the application and the issuance of the visa itself that is hard, but rather the process of completing the required documents for the visa. There was not much time left until the departure date, and it needed time to both collect the required documents and to actually get the visa grant notice in hand. Another thing that I find difficult during my preparation to depart is the packing stage, because I need to sort out the things that I really need to bring and to make them fit to the airline and house countries regulations. I and other IISMA Korea University awardees arrived at Incheon International Airport on February 15, 2022. When first arrived, we were brought to a COVID-19 test facility to get our first PCR test result. After that, we had to quarantine for 7 days onwards in a quarantine facility, which was a hotel in Seoul. It was surprisingly a great experience for me because I got to actually rest after the long preparation and pre-departure process. They gave me 3 meals a day, and I was very thankful that they made me feel like home by giving us lunch and dinner of Indonesian foods for the halal meal plan. However, during that time too, I needed to prepare myself to adapt and adjust to the country, and there was also a course registration period then, which was more like a war, even worse from how I last remembered it was back in my home university. It was quite saddening for me to not even get one course that I wanted, at least for the first 2 weeks, since I finally and luckily got most of them during the add and drop period. On the 6th day of quarantine, we had to do the PCR test again in order for us to be able to check out from the hotel on the 7th day. I tested negative, checked out, and rented taxi to head to my dormitory near the main campus. My first impression of the country was that it was extremely cold, colder than how I expected it to be because it was actually near the end of winter already. I still remember it was minus 8 degrees Celsius when we had to do our first PCR test outside and for a quite long time because the line was so long. It was very important to wear a long john plus padded jacket or coat plus gloves or hot pack for the hands whenever we went out. Our skin and nose were so dry, that's why it was also important to stay hydrated and use petroleum jelly, lotion, or moisturizer for the dry skin. My first impression of the university was that I thought it was, and it still is, so cool. The building, the facilities, and later on the learning environment. Basically, all the courses that I take apply the liberation attendance policy, which means it is up to the students whether or not to attend the class, and it will not affect their grades. But the thing is that it is hard to catch up even when there is only one absence because the material is so packed up and it covers so many things in just one meeting. And in my case, the lecturers hardly give assignments, and some even do not give assignments at all. The criteria of the grading are clearly stated in the syllabus that we can look for during the course registration period, and usually they already include how many assignments that we have to do throughout the semester, including the details and the workload. It was at a glance very convenient, but because the grading is usually only divided by 3 to 4 criteria, such as, for example, participation, midterm examination, one assignment, and final examination, it is somehow very burdening because it means that even one criteria has a really great share to the overall score of the course. I found it quite difficult to do the midterm for some courses due to the differences that I have when I was in my home university and here. I was so used to doing take-home paper assignments that I had to adjust and study more because some of the midterms that I had in here were in the form of closed book on-site long essay questions. Despite all that, I really love the courses that I take because the lectures cover so many interesting topics, and the way the lecturers explain to the class is very appealing and insightful. Aside from attending classes, I also joined a kind of extracurricular, if I may say, called Korea University Buddy Assistant, or what is usually called as KUBA. As a visiting or an exchange student, we are automatically divided into groups consisting of students from various nationalities and backgrounds, and together we are assigned to a buddy, usually a Korean regular student who will help us adjust and adapt to living in South Korea and its academic atmosphere at KU. It's not only helpful for us to adjust to living here, but also allow us to do cultural exchange as well. There were also major events at campus such as the KU Anniversary, International Student Festival or ISF, Crescendo and Epsilon T, and many more, which allowed us to enjoy our time here as an exchange student to the fullest. Being an IISMA already has given me the chance to study abroad, a big dream that I have wanted to do for so long. Studying abroad does not only affect the way I think, but also the way I act, for the better, inshallah. It gives me priceless memories that I'm grateful for and will cherish forever. I'm officially IISMA biased because thanks to IISMA, I get to learn so many things, not just something academic, but basically about life. Be bold to go abroad.